Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, president and founder of AgileDad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Stand-Up. Without any further ado, let's get started. Today, I wanted to talk to you about an article that was sent in to me from one of my very dear friends. Now, he didn't send the article to me. Someone sent the article and said, hey, I need to check it out. His name is Michael Sahota. Michael Sahova. And I have mad respect for Michael. What I can tell you is this article is about mind the gap leading with an agile mindset. So let's talk about it for a second. So it says, in order to create business agility through agile, organizations must not only embrace agile processes, but also integrate the agile mindset. Once again, this is something that sounds so common sense, but it's something that most people overlook. To create an agile organization, everyone needs to shift to the agile mindset. Teams can make this move with the right environment if it's provided, but what about the leaders who are creating the environment? That's where you get this gap, right? It's important that leaders in an organization live the agile mindset to unlock the full benefits of agile. The truth is, most don't have the agile mindset. That's why in this situation they called it an agile leadership gap. Leaders don't have the shift in mindset and the being and doing needed to model an agile way of work. Interesting. So a lot of teams and organizations will turn to, well, let's just get more training. Let's get more training for our managers, for our directors. And agile training alone just doesn't do the mind shift. You know, if you give managers, product owners, scrum masters, and executives a solid scrum training, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to help them achieve the agile mindset unless that specific trainer or coach might be background in psychology. Go figure. Where they can talk about things like psychological safety and about, you know, the way of thinking and having an open mindset versus a closed mindset, and figuring out how to overcome cognitive bias and to talk about things that are important. But in most cases, the training alone just creates a gap. It tells you what the book says you should do, but it doesn't necessarily set you up for an agile mindset. In order to understand the agile mindset, you have to look all the way back to the Agile Manifesto. In the manifesto, there are 3 essential items which people refer to as the essence of agile. You know, the culture of learning, valuing people, and the ability to respond to change. In the culture of learning, many people heard about the shift from a fixed mindset to a learning mindset, or a growth mindset, which is what we're just talking about. In order to have a learning mindset, people must be open to learning and considering new ideas and discovering new information. However, in order for that to truly be successful, in order for Agile to work, leaders need something beyond even a traditional learning mindset. It's a deeper, new type of mindset that unlocks the Agile mindset and helps them understand why they're changing. They need to start examining things like behaviors, ego, consciousness, how we appear, perception, right? And, you know, the damage that the way they're currently leading could be causing to others in a team and organization. And they need to make sure they're taking ownership of mistakes, because mistakes aren't always a bad thing. Having the courage to take an honest look inward and introspective and look in the mirror and use that as a catalyst for growth, for growth mindset, that's exactly where you need to be. You need to be revolutionary and evolutionary and not just stuck in the way that you were doing things. If you have people who are collaborating regularly and doing their thing, why aren't you collaborating regularly and doing your thing? People's egos and conditioned behaviors are patterns that are going to get in the way. We need to have pure collaboration to get reasonable and expected results. And I think that this is true. If you want to get extraordinary, you have to do extraordinary things. And I say that to people all the time. You don't get extraordinary by doing ordinary things. Valuing people. The manifesto clearly says individuals and interactions over processes and tools. But, when you simplify it, you got to think about what it takes to get to a high-performance culture. Are people highly engaged? Are they motivated? Do they understand a vision and strategy? Do they know how to come in with a people-first mindset and really shift things and change things? Is leadership on board with this mindset? Many of us unconsciously react to people and to ways that aren't necessarily people first, and we might not even be aware of it. We may have an emotional outburst or get irritated about something or get attached to the way things have always been done. Innovation requires failure. Innovation requires brainstorming. It requires new ideas. And I think that if you put people first and let their ideas run through, the behaviors will change and things will shift, and you'll start to see that shift to high performance, which is exactly what you want to do. And third is responding to change. They talk about responding to change over following a plan in a manifesto, but when they say responding to change, it doesn't necessarily mean respond to every request that comes in. Part of that is responding to an inner shift of who we are. We need to dig a little deeper. Hey, do you notice you're more successful when you respond to what's happening around you instead of following your own plan? Interesting. Are you getting stuck pushing your agenda or pushing what you think the organization needs? Are you getting frustrated or angry and resistant when plans change? Wow, that's food for thought. Responding to change over following a plan means, how do you know if you're living the agile mindset? How do you know if you're doing the things that you need to be an evolutionary or revolutionary leader? How do you know if you're picking up the torch and running in the right direction? The simple test is to look behind you. If there are people following you, you know something's going one way, right? Are there people reaching out to you to ask for help or for your guidance? Are people pleased with what you have put together, right? Are they reaching out to you as the expert? The agile mindset is really a shift in consciousness. It's not necessarily just skill or technique. It needs to be, here's a strong quote. In the article, it says there's no technique that will give you an agile mindset. The skills and techniques are there to help you create self-awareness so that you can see where you're living the agile mindset and where you're not. Ultimately, it's an inner shift of who you are. And that is what it's all about, right? While this all may seem intimidating or scary, it's fully achievable. They have people all over the world who are in leadership positions who have taken up the challenge and have done this, right? And I think that if you're looking to do this throughout your organization, it helps to have some training and a strong coach and someone from the outside to help bridge that leadership gap. But I think once you get that leadership gap bridged, it requires a mindset shift. And, it can't be something that you delegate. You can't just, as a leader, say, I'm going to delegate the transformation to this person or that person. And you need to realize what you're trying to change and why. If you don't know the why behind the what, it's not going to happen. And if you have loyalty and culture and trust at every one of your levels, then you're going to be successful. But just doing what the book says alone is insufficient. Amen, brother. Real transformation in an organizational system is only possible to the extent that leaders learn and embody the agile mindset. Changing structures doesn't work without changing your mindset. There's no structure that works for everyone, right? It's not spandex. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It requires leaders who fully develop the inner psychological safety to run experiments and to get things figured out. And it requires that the people on the ground do their job and understand why they're doing their job in solving complex problems. This is when leadership kicks into high performance and when things start to really happen. It doesn't matter how long you study leadership. What's most scary about this is that these things never change. And they've been this way forever. And my hat's off to Michael. I love this guy. He did a fantastic job on this blog post. And what I can tell you is that if we can focus on a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset, if we can, get leaders to understand and help them bridge that gap, if you could get them a copy of the Executive Agile Playbook that we just recently put out and let them review and understand, what's expected of them and why we're doing this and how they can support the cause, I think that's going to lead us to stronger Agile implementations and higher performing teams. Well, that does it for today. As always, we encourage you to visit agiledad.com where you can learn more about this topic and many others. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.